We got more posters, folks. It's the end of July. Start of August, probably when this video comes out. Whatever. Let's put some posters up. It is hell poster, damn. Jurassic World Rebirth, mid as hell poster, mid as hell movie. This movie is the definition of mid. Before the movie even came out, I knew that this movie was A, going to make a lot of money. Like, 10-year-olds love dinosaurs. And like every other dinosaur movie, like every other Jurassic Park film has made so much money. Ridiculous. And B, I was not gonna like this movie. It was just giving like we didn't try as a film. You know, even the trailers before they came out, I was like, oh, this movie is just not trying. Okay, so you know when Episode 7 of Star Wars came out, yeah, Force Awakens, that's the one. People really liked it, and like a month later, people were like, oh, hey, that was just the plot of the original trilogy. We've been kind of like played for nostalgia. Jurassic Park Rebirth, this one right here, is like does the same thing. It uses the original score an obnoxious amount, like I'm talking like stupidly quite often. And yeah, it's like iconic for Jurassic Park, but it's like overused in this movie, in my opinion. You know, whatever. Remixing iconic visuals, like a lot of the stuff from the first one, like the Bronchiosaurus. I don't know. My dinosaurs. All right, leave me alone. A lot of like more Easter eggs and references to the other films. You know, there's a bio dinosaur like the fucking Jurassic World movies. And again, these could just be Easter eggs, and that's fine. But there's nothing else to this movie. There's nothing original to this movie. It just feels like they used all the quote unquote good parts of the other Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films and kind of mushed them together into this thing that doesn't work, right? And I think this also might be due to its like rushed production, because I have heard that it was only had 18 months or something to turn it around from announcement. And it shows, right? Because the characters are all very like flat, and I don't feel any of their chemistry, and none of their like stories are fleshed out. I guess it's a new cast of characters, so like it's passing down the torch, which makes it harder. That goes for like remakes as well. It's like you're constantly going to be compared to the thing that came before you. So if it's like, oh, the Jurassic Park movies, and then you're going to compare those characters to the Jurassic World films, and then now you've got those two, you're going to compare those to the Jurassic Rebirth movies, and it's just like you're constantly on the back foot, because you have to compare yourself to something that already exists, and either the people are going to love it or hate it, but you're already going to get compared, and that's not fair. As a concept, it's fun. You know, all the dinosaurs go to, you know, Dinosaur Island, and then they want to go get a MacGuffin, but it's just unoriginal. The movie, the plot, the characters, everything is just very unoriginal. You could feel everyone kind of phoning it in a little bit. It's unoriginal, but it's fun. The villain is fun. Again, it's a copy of the one from San Francisco. You know, it's the same kind of villain. Looking for a dinosaur MacGuffin for money. Wow. And the CGI is just not on. I'm not a CGI hater, but I'm just like, puppets and puppetry and animatronics and stuff are better. You know, there's the Bronchiosaurus scene I talked about just before is better. Would have been better if it had used some type of animatronic or just something that was physically there, because you could just tell that, you know, in that moment you were on a green screen and they were pretending that something was there, and it was just it's mid. The movie's like a 5 out of 10. Not like laughably bad, just an average blockbuster. It's just a Jurassic Park film. This movie's, yeah, again, a 5. Mid is worse than bad. Mid is worse than good. It's probably like just a nothing rating. All right, next one. Superman. Also, what do you guys think about The Wall? Doesn't it look sick? Just all the movies we've seen so far. 56. 56. Can you believe that? Sorry. Anyway, Superman. From one blockbuster to another. Excuse you. I have high hopes for this one. My dad's a big Superman fan, and just before the movie came out, I saw the newest Rick and Morty episode, and that had James Gunn and the guy who did the other ones, the Man of Steel films. It's pretty much said that you don't need to please every fan to be a good thing. And this movie is that. There's a lot of love. There's some stuff I don't like. And one of the first things I do like is this is the most comic book feeling movie. The colors are bright and sharp. The music is just a hit. James Gunn rarely misses when it comes to music. He did all the, Guardians of the Galaxy stuff as well. But also the score is really well done. Like scene towards the start of the film where Lex Luthor is just aura farming, but the music behind it is the thing that like really just beats that in. And that's fun. Most characters are believable. Superman and Lex are like the perfect opposites. Like they're good counters to each other, and like on a ideological way. Lex Luthor is a generational hater, but he would also hate fuck Superman. You get that vibe. Lois and Clark are good counters to each other as well. My only issue in this movie is the pacing. Like, sorry, spoilers. But after Superman gets out of the Nether, the movie slows right down. I don't think I was completely won back by the end of the movie. My issue was with the ending is, again, spoilers. Lois like does too much. She is your human character, right? She has been dating Superman for about like 3 months. Yes, Superman's been around for like longer than that. But, she hasn't been part of that bigger world that Superman's been a part of for that long. But yet she's like flying planes and like, in part of like big conspiracy stuff. And I'm like, you don't feel like you're a reporter anymore. You feel like Superman's sidekick. And that sucks because, again, when they like clash and when they have like different views and there's like this, friction there, it's good. But when, she's flying planes and like, picking up Superman from the Nether, it's like you feel like more like a sidekick than like an opposite. That's my issue with just like Lois Lane as a character in this movie. It's fine. The movie's good. Again, everything besides that is fun. Yeah, this movie, I'm excited that not all the DC movies moving forward are going to be like this, but I'm excited because this one, it feels very original. So I don't know. Moving forward, this one's going to be unique, and I think it's like an 8 out of 10. It's very fun. It's very fun. Highly recommend. Okay. All right. So now we saw Sitaare Zameen Par. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a long one, so just strap in with me, right? We're going to go on a journey. So a bit of context behind this one. It's a Bollywood. Shocker. But a rip-off of an English film called Champions, right? So we go this movie to Champions. This movie, the plots are exactly the same, right? So you have a disgraced basketball coach who, down on his luck has to, as his only option, has to, coach a team of people on the spectrum. And that film, so this one came out this year. This one came out in 2023, like recently. It has Woody Harrelson in it. I don't think it did very well in like English audiences, whatever. I think it did fine, but again, it's sports underdog movie, and it's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I didn't see the 2023 one. I saw the, this one here. The movie's not bad. But, shocker, there's actually a third one that was in Spanish called El Champions. I'm assuming that's just like champions in Spanish. This movie's been remade in 2 different languages in the last 7 years. And it's loosely based on a true story. The lore goes deeper. Like this all actually happened to some like the degree of, movie. And the Spanish film has a sequel that came out in between these two somewhere. And there's also a German spin-off TV series as well. So, right now, the movie I'm watching has 3 different versions and a sequel to one of those versions that already exists. I'm excited for the Australian one in 6 months. I don't know. It sent me for a loop. This is all information. I've just scratched the surface. This might go even deeper. I have no idea. Like and subscribe for when my 2-hour-long deep dive video comes out of this. If you want to see it. Okay, so now I'm trying to talk about this film here. Yes, I know there's like 8 other films now over here. But let's try to talk about this one. And this is going to be harder because, again, now that I know that there's other versions of this movie that exists, how much of this is original and how much of this is, using all the bits and elements over here. This movie feels like it's going to be offensive. Just because, you have people on the spectrum. You have, and it feels like it's something that was written as a 2000s plot, that like, you know, Michael Myers love guru-esque, right? It feels like it's gonna be quite insensitive, and maybe in some key parts it is. Especially in this one. I don't know about the other ones and how they handle everything else, but this one feels a little bit, it could be borderline offensive, right? There's enough heart and there's enough charm to it, and they do develop enough of the characters and everything else in it where it's not, um, you know, it's not tone deaf, right? It knows what it's doing, and that's good. It's an underdog, you know, sport film, which, you know, we're kind of lacking nowadays, which is, you know, sad, but it's just, that's just the genre that you can only talk about so much or remake 7 times. This movie does also have like a 3 hour long runtime, and it 100% doesn't need this length of film for the story it's trying to tell. This movie doesn't fly by, but the movie is structured enough to not be boring, if that makes sense. It's like, oh, okay, I can, you know, it's long and I'm here for it, but it's not, it doesn't feel short. The movie does not fly by, but the movie is structured enough to not be boring, if that makes sense. The only thing I can really judge on is its performance, and I think they're all good. The thing is, if you have a longer runtime, you could have done more with the larger cast of characters instead of just being so focused on a main character. But I feel like for this movie, if this movie was shorter, I wouldn't have that complaint. It's just because the movie is 3 hours long. I'm like, you could do more than just focusing on your main guy. Some of the players in the team felt sidelined, for the lack of the pun, but this is a good Bollywood. Like, the music is, it's a Bollywood, right? So the music is also quite good. There's a song at the end of the movie that's just like a really good earworm that's just been playing in my head for the last little while. No idea what they're saying, but it's still pretty good. The film's like a 7. It's good at what it does. Classic little underdog story. It's I don't know about the rest of these, but I feel like this is a fine version. I can't wait for the Chinese version in, like, you know, 2 years. Film's like a 6. Yeah, film's like a 7. Okay, next one. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. So after that long talking about basketball Bollywood films, now we're going to talk about Friendship with it had Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson in it. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Tim Robinson, he's the guy from I Think You Should Leave, or the clip that goes around all the time of the guy who goes, I want 55 hamburgers, 55 tacos, you know, that one, right? Anyway, this film is maybe my favorite film of the year so far. So if you haven't seen Tim Robinson's other work, he's very like dry humor, awkward funny, not like laugh out loud funny. Right? I mean, yeah, you can laugh out loud, but it's not like it's a joke. It's like, this is a character being weird in a normal scenario, you know? That's like a lot of that comedy comes from, like, being weird in normal scenarios. And that's hard comedy to do without being cringe, right? And I think that's why I don't particularly love all of Tim Robinson's stuff. And yes, Friendship does have like cringe humor and like cringe moments, but that is all entirely by design. It's all uncanny valley cringe, but in a way that makes you sink into your chair, like watching this loser dad fall so quickly into unhinged lunacy. It is uncomfortable watching. This movie feels like bending a ruler, right? You're like, at some point this is gonna snap, and you're like waiting and waiting and waiting for it to snap, like, or blowing up a balloon or something like that, right? And you're just waiting and you're waiting, and you can see it bending, and you can see like the folds in it, and you know at some point it's gonna snap. But instead of where it should snap, it just keeps moving and it keeps going, and you're just like, this should bend at some point. It should snap. That's what this movie feels like. It feels like that level of intense, just uncomfortable, you know? That's what this movie feels like. And it all works, in my opinion, almost masterfully. This movie goes way past where a normal movie would snap, right? This tone of the movie is uneasy. It's uneasy. It's uncomfortable. It's awkwardness, where you can not help but like laugh at just how tense and absurd the situation is. Up to like an unsatisfying climax, and that's like all, again, it's all by design. That this movie is not like psychologically it's something probably psychologically uncomfortable, but it's nothing like scary. I just feel like this guy, Tim Robinson's character is uncomfortable. He is the worst. You don't like him as a main character. You want him to be better, but you also just know he's not okay, and you can't help either to hate him or to love him or to like despise him for being just the worst version of himself the entire movie. And obviously to hilarity, because it's just he just makes every situation worse and worse for himself until it just implodes on himself. There is weird moments in here that even I don't fully like. I understand them because they're hilarious, but I'm just like, oh, okay. There's a scene where the mum kisses her son on the lips, and it just kind of happens really quick, and that's weird. He ends up with two girlfriends just out of nowhere. I don't know. The movie just, there's a lot of like weird little like airplane flying high like jokes that kind of just happen, and if you're not paying attention they just kind of move on. 100, like, look, maybe this movie is not 100% for everyone, but I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I was expecting. It's a 10 out of 10. Look, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't really know why I feel reluctant to say that, but I love this film. It was very fun, very stupid, very silly, very good. Wow. All right, next one. Oh, I just hit a family of four. Okay, so we're back to blockbusters. Let's talk about some Fantastic Four. This movie is like look, if I could capture it in one word and you can skip past this part, it's refreshing. I'm not going to say the MCU is back. I'm not going to say the MCU is dead. I'm just saying this as a standalone movie for Marvel and to see all these superheroes is refreshing. Like post Endgame, your required material has only gone up and up and up on what you need to watch, and this movie is just refreshing. And this movie does not hold your hand, right? It just goes, the Fantastic Four. 90% of you guys know the Fantastic Four. Let's just move past that and let's get into the point here, right? It's very good. It moves to the meat of the story quite quickly. The movie's not long. It's only like just under 2 hours, which you're losing about to every other film that we've seen today, like the Supermans and your Jurassic Parks. They're all like two and a half each of them. I'm like, that they're quite long. So this movie's only being like hour 50 or whatever it is. It's good. It's concise. It's like to the point. It knows. You don't have to do a lot of the this character and this character are related and whatever. It's like, no, we know all that stuff already. It kind of they jump straight to the point of, okay, spoilers if you haven't seen it already. Pregnancy. It jumps straight to that point of we've been doing it, we've been going for it, and there's a baby now, and that's the dynamic, and it's been a couple years since they've been the Fantastic Four, and that's good. It gets, my thing is, people be like, this is the best superhero movie. No, it is the best invasion film with superheroes in it. Like, the threat is massive. Like, Galactus is a big threat, and they have to either defend themselves or run. That's essentially their only options there, right? Or, obviously kill a baby. Yikes. Refreshing. Again, it's all just refreshing stuff. Like the world, the set design, the post 60s Jetsons, mashed together is quite nice. It's very fun. When you see crowds of people all wearing fedoras unironically, it's very funny. It's very set in this world. This movie is good. Galactus is fun. He's a scary guy. His superpower is making people go into labor, and that's funny. You just know some nerds are gonna call their kid Franklin, and that's gonna Franklin names are gonna spike in the next 6 months. Awesome, fun times. And now the comparison is obviously because Superman came out earlier this month, and then we got Fantastic Four. They're both just as good as each other for different reasons, right? I think it's an 8 for this one, and it's also just an 8 for Superman. Like, let's not talk about the Dark Knight trilogy and any of those other ones right now. But speaking of Christopher Nolan, I watched Interstellar in 2025. Here are my thoughts. Yeah, look, I haven't seen Interstellar before. Shocker, spoiler. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm pretty sure I've seen all these other films, and I guess it was just because it was so hyped by other people. I wanted my first time to be special. Everyone has a story of where they were when they watched Interstellar, and I just didn't want mine to be on my couch in my underwear. I wanted mine to be on a big screen, so I had the chance to go see it in my like local theater that was re-showing, older films. And yeah, I got to see Interstellar in 2025 in a big cinema, A tad. We got there a tad late, so I did have end up having to like watch the movie like with my neck tilted up, looking at wide McConaughey the entire time. But again, it's not that bad. Look, the first half, I'm not gonna lie, was a bit long, but once this movie kicked off, it's heartbreaking. It is shocking. It's all grounded in its own world. I have no idea about any of the science in this movie, if it legit if it's legit or not, but it was explained to me in such a way that made sense that when people get cynical, they're like, "Oh, X and Y isn't real, or the science doesn't make sense, or anything like that." The cynicism is gone in this movie. You can be cynical to this movie, but you look like an absolute asshole if you do that, there's some films you can be cynical and it's like, oh, okay, take 1 second and look at the plot and go, oh, there's a hole there. But this movie is like so tightly explained in one way or another that you can't be cynical of this film, even when you get to even when it talks about like love being a science, like love being a unknowable thing, it weaves these elements into its story itself, like to make something that is powerful on a human level about like the what odds would you go for love and all that, and like what drives us as well as our like instinct to survive as a species, and human condition is and human connection being a tangible thing beyond our comprehension. If like that's all stuff that's just in that film that you can't just nitpick at, and that's good. It's great. It's refreshing. It was like I was locked in. It was fun. The movie was smart but still entertaining. And it didn't make me feel stupid because it explained to me on a little monkey brain level, and that I could understand. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. I'm not lost. I do feel like, yeah, if I watched this at home, I wouldn't be as locked in. Just because this movie is one of those ones, I'm like, if I hit my phone one time, I've lost something. But in a cinema, on the big screen, this movie just worked, right? The sound, the seeing all the visuals, and the as a concept, space as all these different visuals and stuff was just something that Christopher Nolan does best, but also just wow. Everyone in this movie is just waiting for a mate, just waiting for a mate. And in the end, ain't that all what we're waiting for? Love and mateship. This movie's just like it's just a masterpiece, right? All right, so bit of a quiet one in terms of new movies, but hey, look, now the movie wall looks cool, huh? Like look how cool the movie wall looks. I do want to say apologies for my weird schedule. I did miss some films this month as well. It's been chaos, but thank you so much. I do appreciate you. I do thank you so much for everyone who stopped by. If you are enjoying these, we'll be doing more next month. I think we got a lot more original films and a lot more stupider films. Fucking Bride Hard. Fuck, I'm not excited for Bride Hard. All right. So until then, I want to say thank you so much, and I will see you next time. All right. Ciao, ciao, y'all. Goodbye.